EC set 7th October for Pelangai State seat by-election. Men arrested over false bomb threat at Ipoh Mall. You're watching Updates at Noon with me, SAHIH. We have just received words that the Election Commission EC has set 7th October as the polling date for Pelangai State seat by-election in Pahang. EC Chairman Tan Sri Abdul Ghani Saleh said this after chairing a special meeting at the EC headquarters in Putrajaya earlier today.
Tarikh-tarikh penting bagi PRK Dewan N36 Pelangai Pahang adalah seperti berikut. Tarikh RIT 24 Ogos 2023, hari ini, hari Khamis. Hari penerimaan calon 23 September 2023, hari Sabtu. Hari undi awal 3 Oktober 2023, hari Selasa. Hari mengundi 7 Oktober 2023, hari Sabtu.
On Monday, EC said it had been officially notified by Pahang State Assembly Speaker Datuk Sri Muhammad Sharkar Shamsuddin about the Pelangai seat vacancy caused by the death of incumbent Datuk Sri Johari Harun on 17th August. Datuk Sri Johari, 53, were among 10 people killed when a Beechcraft Model 390 aircraft crashed on the Guthrie Highway near Bandar Elmina in Shah Alam last Thursday. In the 15th general election, Datuk Sri Johari, representing Barisan Nasional, won the Pelangai State seat with a 4,048 vote majority, defeating Perikatan Nasional candidate Kasim Samad, Ahmad Wafiuddin Shamsuri of Pakatan Harapan and Isa Ahmad of Pejuang. 8 families from the 10 victims of the Beechcraft Model 390 Premier 1 aircraft crashed along the Guthrie Corridor Expressway near the Elmina Township in Shah Alam will receive compensation from the Social Security Organisation SOCSO. Human Resources Minister V. Sivakumar said one beneficiary will receive the survivor's pension benefit under the Employees Social Security Act 4. In a statement, he said another beneficiary is eligible to receive 2 benefits, namely the dependents' benefits under the Self-Employed Social Security Scheme Act, Act 789, and survivors' pension benefit under the Employees Social Security Act 1969, Act 4. However, 2 families will not receive the Perkeso benefits because one of them was a civil servant and the other did not contribute to the scheme. Meanwhile, Sivakumar said Perkeso managed the funeral arrangements of 7 victims with an amount of 2,000 ringgit under the funeral management benefit, while the payment to another next of kin was still delayed as there has been no response from the family. The agenda to improve the country's governance will be continued in a bid to eradicate leakage and wastage. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim has emphasised that governance is also a crucial factor in attracting investments and enhancing the business environment as well as protecting the safety of the people and the nation's borders. Datuk Sri Anwar, who is also the Finance Minister, said he stressed the matter during his meeting with the heads of department and financial crime-related enforcement agencies at the Finance Ministry. It is estimated that the country suffers a revenue loss of 5 billion ringgit per year, while financial crimes that contribute to the shadow economy cause a loss of tax revenue estimated at 70 billion ringgit a year. Looking at the increasingly complex trend of financial crime, Datuk Sri Anwar has instructed government agencies to be more proactive and effective. He also expressed his appreciation to all members of related agencies who work tirelessly to fight and eradicate financial crime, besides calling for the cooperation and involvement of the people in participating in these efforts. A 38-year-old man has been detained in connection with yesterday's false bomb threat call at Aeon Mall, Klebang in Ipoh, Perak. Ipoh Police Chief ACP Yahya Hassan said the local man was arrested at 9:30 last night in the Tasik area. The man is believed to be responsible for making the bomb threat call to the shopping centre management based on the evidence gathered and the communication device used to make the fake call. ACP Yahya said the remand order against the suspect will be applied today. The case is being investigated under Section 507 of the Penal Code. Meanwhile, ACP Yahya said an inspection of the entire premises found no suspicious objects. The mall was later confirmed safe and all staff were allowed to re-enter the building at 10:30 p.m. The shopping centre was evacuated and forced to cease operations after a worker at the premises received a call suspected to be a bomb threat at about 5:30 p.m. yesterday. In the same development, the Klebang Aeon Mall in Ipoh, Perak is operating as usual from 10 a.m. after getting a clearance from the authorities. The Aeon management also apologised for the inconvenience and appreciate the patience and continued support of their customers. The Federal Territories Islamic Religious Department, JAWI, will be investigating a video showing a man believed to be a Muslim reciting a prayer at an event involving the religious ceremonies of other faiths. JAWI said in a statement today it is to ensure that the practice does not violate the views of the Islamic law or fatwa or edicts that are in force. The statement read that any offence related to Aqidah or faith is subject to legal action and punishment under Act 599, Sharia Criminal Offences, Act Federal Territories 1997. The incident, which was captured in a 57-minute video, is said to have occurred during a groundbreaking ceremony of a new building in the city, held by a political party and has drawn reactions on social media. According to JAWI, harmony and tolerance among religions are encouraged in Islam. However, all parties should always refer to the religious authorities to ensure that their actions follow Islamic laws. Indian spacecraft lands on lunar surface, that and more coming up in the foreign segment.
Pernah tak anda sebagai ibu bapa memikirkan perasaan anak-anak? Mereka juga mangsa tagihan dada. Hentikan, bantu mereka sebelum terlambat. Dapatkan rawatan secara sukarela di pusat pemulihan kerajaan ataupun swasta.
Malaysia and Iran have flashed their commitment to continue the existing integrated bilateral relationship, including in the fields of economy, education, food security, science and technology, as well as exploring new potential for cooperation. Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim said the commitment was achieved following a telephone conversation with the President of Iran, Said Ibrahim Raisi, on Tuesday. In the phone call, both leaders also agreed to set up two joint committees, namely Joint Commission Meeting and Joint Economic Commission, that would immediately convene a meeting to explore all possibilities of cooperation.
We will certainly follow up, inshallah, with the discussions with the Foreign Minister, and even the Joint Commission should convene as the earliest possible. I will certainly alert my officials to give this a priority.
The telephone conversation between the two leaders was made following Foreign Minister Dato' Sri Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir's courtesy visit on the President of Iran. Dato' Sri Zamri, who is on a 4-day official visit to Iran that ended yesterday, said the visit was aimed at expanding the access on export of commodities and products from Malaysia to countries that come under the Commonwealth of Independent States. Meanwhile, Dato' Sri Anwar congratulated real estate mogul Srettha Thavisin on his election as the new Prime Minister of Thailand. In his congratulatory message, the Prime Minister also invited Srettha to visit the country in the near future to strengthen the existing close ties between Malaysia and Thailand.
Thailand is a very important country to us, and I'm looking forward to enhancing our relations, investments, trade, diplomatic, in every field possible.
Through a video conversation between the two leaders posted on Dato' Sri Anwar's Facebook page, Srettha also expressed hope to further strengthen bilateral ties between the two countries and hope to meet the Prime Minister soon. On Tuesday, the 60-year-old Srettha was elected as Thailand's new Prime Minister, the first civilian Prime Minister in over 9 years. His victory also put an end to the 3-month political impasse, opening the door for a new coalition government. An Indian spacecraft landed on the rugged, unexplored south pole of the moon on Wednesday in a mission seen as crucial to lunar exploration, and India standing as a space power just days after a similar Russian lander crash. Prime Minister Narendra Modi watched the landing from South Africa, where he is attending a BRICS summit, a group that joins Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. India is the first country to land on the south pole of the moon, where many others have not succeeded so far. Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO's Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft landing makes India the fourth nation to successfully land a spacecraft on the moon after the United States, China and Russia. This was India's second attempt to land a spacecraft on the moon and comes less than a week after Russia's Luna 25 mission failed. The Chandrayaan-3 is expected to remain functional for 2 weeks, running a series of experiments including a spectrometer analysis of the mineral composition of the lunar surface. The landing is expected to boost India's reputation for cost-competitive space engineering. The Chandrayaan-3 was launched with a budget of about 6.15 billion rupees, equivalent to only $74 million. Rough terrain makes a South Pole landing difficult, and a first landing is historic. The region's ice could supply fuel, oxygen and drinking water for future missions. South Korea's military reported that North Korea launched what appeared to be a space rocket early today in what would be the North's second such attempt this year after a May launch crash. The launch prompted an emergency warning in Japan just before 4 a.m. local time over the J-Alert broadcasting system, telling residents of the southernmost prefecture of Okinawa to take cover indoors. About 20 minutes following the alert, the Japanese government followed up with a notice that the missile had passed through towards the Pacific Ocean and lifted the emergency warning. Japanese Chief Cabinet Secretary Hirokazu Matsuno called the launch a threat to regional security and said Tokyo would lodge a protest with North Korea. A United States official speaking on condition of anonymity confirmed the US military was aware of the North Korean launch but declined to offer details. 2 days ago, North Korea said it would launch a satellite between 24th and 31st August. Pyongyang has said it needs a military reconnaissance satellite to boost monitoring of US military activities. Norwegian energy firm Equinor and its partners inaugurated the world's largest floating offshore wind farm on Wednesday, whose output will supply nearby oil and gas platforms and cut their greenhouse gas emissions. The Hywind Tampen Wind Farm, where Equinor is partnering with other oil firms including OMV, Var Energy, majority owned by ENI, started producing power in November last year with full output reached earlier this month. Its 88 megawatts of capacity will cover around 35% of annual power demand for 5 platforms at the Snor and Gullfaks oil and gas fields in the North Sea, about 140 kilometers off Norway's west coast. The wind farm is expected to reduce CO2 emissions by 200,000 tons annually, or 0.4% of Norway's total CO2 emissions in 2022. Hywind Tampen comprises 11 wind turbines fixed to a floating base that is anchored to the seafloor rather than fixed to the ocean bed. A new technology industry experts say is suitable for use in deeper waters offshore that Equinor hopes to develop. The technology is still in its infancy, and costs at Hywind Tampen have risen from an initial estimate of 5.2 billion crowns, equivalent to $491 million in 2020, to 7.4 billion crowns, driven by raw material delays, quality issues, inflations and currency effects.
76 minit tanpa henti. 76 minutes non-stop. Transparent and concise. Paparan komprehensif, ringkas dan padat. Saksikan Kanta 744 malam. Berita perdana 8 malam. Malaysia Tonight, 8:30 p.m.
Chinese President Xi Jinping said on Wednesday that China will continue to firmly support Cuba in defending national sovereignty and opposing external interference and blockades in a meeting with Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel on the sidelines of the 15th BRICS summit in Johannesburg. Xi said that during Diaz-Canel's successful state visit to China last November, the two leaders had reached extensive consensus on deepening the China-Cuba relations in the new era and agreed to work together to build a China-Cuba community with shared future. China is willing to work with Cuba to keep deepening political trust, expanding practical cooperation, and intensifying strategic coordination. Xi stressed that the group of 77, G77, and China is an important platform for the cooperation among developing countries. Cuba, as the chair of the group of 77 and China this year, has made positive contributions to enhancing solidarity among developing countries. Diaz-Canel noted that both countries have been earnestly implementing the important consensus reached by the two leaders. He also said currently, Cuba-China relations are at the highest level in history. The Cuban side stands ready to intensify cooperation with China to ensure the upcoming G77 and China summit a success. For the fourth straight day, Sudanese paramilitaries fought the regular army in Khartoum for control of a key armoured corps base in the capital south. Fighters from Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo's Rapid Support Forces (RSF) began their assault on the vast strategic compound on several fronts since Sunday. The army led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has put out several statements and videos saying it has repelled the RSF attacks. But the paramilitary said that since early Wednesday, the RSF had taken control of nearly the entire camp, with only a few minor areas still under contention. Both sides post regular videos online showing what they say is their men inside the base, but it is not possible to independently verify which force holds which perimeter. Each side has in the past claimed to have taken strongholds in Khartoum, while they were in fact still fighting for them, as was the case with the army headquarters and the presidential palace. The war between the rival generals and former allies erupted on 15 April, and it was estimated that nearly 5,000 people have been killed since then. According to United Nations figures, in the 4 months since the fighting broke out, more than 4.6 million people have had to flee their homes. Russian mercenary chief Yevgeny Prigozhin was listed as a passenger on a private jet which crashed north of Moscow yesterday with no survivors. The TASS news agency reported the matter, citing Rosavizia, Russia's aviation authority. An investigation has been launched into the Embraer plane crash that occurred in the Tver region. Earlier, TASS had reported that 10 people had died after a private jet crashed in Russia's Tver region north of Moscow. The jet en route from Moscow to St. Petersburg was carrying 7 passengers and 3 crew. If confirmed, Prigozhin's death would leave the Wagner Group, which incurred President Vladimir Putin's wrath in June by staging an abortive armed mutiny against the army's top brass leaderless. This would raise questions about its future operations in Africa and elsewhere. Whoever or whatever was behind the crash and Prigozhin's death would also rid Putin of someone who had mounted the most serious challenge to the Russian leader's authority since he came to power in 1999. Fierce wildfires have been spreading in Bolivia and Peru, affecting residents in both countries, with at least 5 dead reported in Peru. In Cochabamba and La Paz, the fires burned vegetation and endangered wildlife. The Bolivian Vice Minister of Civil Defense, Juan Carlos Calvi Montes, reported that Beni is in the region with the highest number of forest fires. According to Calvi Montes, more than 500 armed forces troops have been sent to the regions affected by the fires. Meanwhile, Peru faces a similar struggle as fires scorched the Apurimac region, where 5 people died. Local media reported that at least 200 hectares have been consumed by the fire. Regional Governor of Apurimac, Percy Godoy Medina, said efforts to move the wounded and others affected are underway.
operando 2 helicópteros y un avión del ejército para hacer el traslado de los heridos. Tenemos lamentablemente 2 fallecidos y tenemos 2 desaparecidos. En la zona se encuentran especialistas de brigada de defensa civil regional.
Asimismo hacemos un llamado.
Next in sports, Malaysian shuttlers continue World Badminton title charge. Stay with us. We begin our sports segment with the 2023 World Badminton Championship in Copenhagen. National pairs Aaron Chia So Yig and Perli Tan and Tina cruise into the next round after dispatching their opponents in the second round of the championship. Aaron Woo Yig were made to work hard by Danish pairs JP-based Lasse Molhedi before they earned their ticket into the next round. The world number 4 dispatched the host pairs 18-21, 21-14, 21-16 and will next take on Taiwan's representative Li Yang, Wang Chi-lin in the third round. Meanwhile, Perli Tina, who received a bye in the opening round, overcame Scottish duo Julie McPherson, Ciara Torrance 21-15, 21-10. The 10-seeded pair will lock horns against Japanese duo Mayu Matsumoto, Wakana Nagahara in the third round. Also moving on were national mixed doubles pair Chen Tanji, Toh Yi-wei, who took only 36 minutes to dispose of a Hong Kong pair, regional Lee Chun-hei, Ng Zhao Yao in straight sets. In football, the Malaysian Football League MFL will set the fixtures for the 2023 Malaysia Cup quarterfinals once the draws for the 2023-2024 Asian Champions League ACL and AFC Cup are completed. MFL in a statement today said this was because 3 Malaysia League M-League clubs would be involved in the 2 tournaments, Super League defending champions Johor Darul Takzim JDT in the ACL and Sabah FC and Terengganu FC in the AFC Cup. The Liga M administrator said the revised schedule for local football competitions will also involve the 2023 Super League and 2023 Challenge Cup. The 21st ACL and 19th AFC Cup are scheduled to run from next month until May 2024. In the Malaysia Cup quarterfinals, defending champions JDT will play Negeri Sembilan FC, Terengganu will meet Selangor FC, Sabah FC will play Perak FC and Kuala Lumpur City FC will meet Sri Pahang FC. The Malaysia Cup first leg quarterfinals had earlier been scheduled for 15 September with the return leg on 23rd September. Britain's Josh Kerr produced a stunning sprint to the line to claim gold and inflict World Championship defeat on Jacob Ingebrigtsen in the men's 1,500 metres at the World Athletics Championship on Wednesday. Kerr, who won an Olympic bronze in Tokyo when Ingebrigtsen claimed gold, turned on the afterburners down the home straight in Budapest to hold off the Norwegian and win in 3 minutes 29.38 seconds. It was deja vu for Ingebrigtsen, who had to settle for silver just as he did at the World Championship in Eugene last year when he was beaten by another Briton, Jake Whiteman, in a similar close finish. Abel Kipsang took up the early lead at an unforgiving pace and Ingebrigtsen settled on the Kenyan shoulder. The Norwegian moved smoothly to the front at the 500-meter mark and turned the screw with a kilometre still to run. He took the pack through the bell in front, but Kerr moved swiftly into second and then kicked with 200 metres to run. Ingebrigtsen kicked back and the pair were neck and neck as they entered the home straight. Kerr, however, proved the stronger finisher when medals were on the line, edging ahead for gold to leave Ingebrigtsen ruining another race where he missed out on gold due to a British rival's superior tactical news. In pole vaulting event, Olympic champion Katie Moon of the United States and Australian Nina Kennedy shared gold medals after tying in a nail-biting final. Kennedy and Moon, who won Olympic gold in Tokyo 2 years ago and took the 2022 world title in Eugene under her maiden name of Nagiat, Both vaulted a best of 4.90 meter and could not be separated on the countback as both had one failure at that height. After a brief chat between two competitors and the officials, it was decided that both would be world champions rather than having a jump off. Moon was the defending world title holder, while Kennedy's jump saw her set a new national record. Meanwhile, Wilma Murto of Finland tied her season's best of 4.80 for bronze, missing all three of her attempts at 4.85 meters. The outcome echoed the men's high jump at the Tokyo Olympics when Qatar's Mutas Issa Barshim and Gianmarco Tamberi of Italy were allowed to share the gold medal with the same height of 2.37 meters.
Tamasya sukan terulung di benua Asia kini bakal beraksi. Satu hati dengan semangat kesukanan. Perjuangan dalam keharmonian. Sukan Asia ke-19 Hangzhou 2022 bersama RTM, penyiar rasmi.
That ends Updates at Noon, wrapping up with a reminder of our top story today. EC set 7 October for Pelangai State Seat by-election. Tune in to Malaysia Tonight, coming up at 8:30 p.m. on TV1 and saluran Berita RTM. I'm SAHIH Malaysia Madani, tekad perpaduan penuhi harapan.